that I have received here and for the very interesting visit that I did yesterday. What we are building on is 60 years of relations between the EU and Pakistan, and we have Pakistan is a very important and strategic partner for the European Union. And we have seen this good cooperation in many areas. You mentioned the trade, and I think this is an area we've seen a lot of a good outcome that we could do even more. And coming to my portfolio in Peshawar, I saw the efforts that authorities are making for good and sound border management and the sophisticated counter-terrorism strategies that are being designed and implemented. And these efforts are unfortunately necessary, and I think they are well advanced. They illustrate the responsible approach of Pakistan as an influential actor and leading presence in the region. A stable security situation is in the interest of all, including beyond the region. So that's why this area of security is also an area where I would like to see a deeper cooperation between us two. When it comes to migration, the EU and Pakistan have a strong foundation of cooperation to stand on. And you mentioned the Afghan refugees. I think it's impressive, the generosity. And I would like again to thank you for how you have dealt with this very, very difficult situation with the Afghan refugees. And of course, there's a big of many differences, but also now in the European Union, we are experiencing 4.5 million Ukrainian refugees that are being hosted in homes. So these are challenges that we have to deal with. At the same time, also have the possibility and the strength to look into other areas of migration where we also need to cooperate. And you already mentioned many of those. I'm very happy that we together today can launch this dialogue, the comprehensive dialogue on migration and mobility. And it's about building on of course, the experience that we already have, the already good cooperation that we have on the EU readmission agreement and
मामा इस दफा मैच हम जीतेंगे।
रोज ख्वाबों को पूरा करने निकलते हो, तपती धूप हो या ठंडी शाम, हिम्मत नहीं हारते। गिर के भी रुकते नहीं। मेरी नजर में तुम रोज जीतते हो, क्योंकि जीत है आगे बढ़ने में। और इसीलिए मैं तुम्हें देती हूँ नेस्ले माइलो, जिसमें है जौ की ताकत, दूध कोको।
So I think really we have a good base to stand on, and we have the common energy and skills to really step up and deepen and broaden our cooperation. So thank you very much for the very good discussions today, and I'm really looking forward to continue on this dialogue and to be even more concrete in the different steps.
Thank you, Madam Minister and Madam Commissioner. The two sides have agreed in advance to take 4 questions from the floor, and we will now open the floor for Q&A session. Yes, please.
Thank you very much. Numani Shfaq Mughal, Parliament Times. Ms. Commissioner, illegal immigration is one of the biggest challenge for European Union. EU compensate certain countries, incentivize certain countries like Turkey and Morocco to stop illegal immigration. But this region of world and African region, these are the major source of illegal immigrants into Europe. Will there be any mechanism in future to incentivize Pakistan or other countries like Afghanistan to have better border management in order to stop inflow of illegal immigrants?
Already cooperating in this area, and we are ready to step up in all these areas. That's why we are launching this dialogue on migration and mobility. So we see the needs, and we are also ready with funding when it comes to support the legal migration. Could be in the format of the talent partnership. So this is what we would like to explore further. But we are also ready to support when it comes to the importance of fighting the smugglers and to reintegrate the returnees that have to to go back when they're not eligible to stay. So in all these areas, we are also ready to step up our financial contribution and other ways to cooperate with Pakistan.
Questions, one each basically, one for the visiting dignitary and one for Madam Minister. Firstly, ma'am, we've seen that Pakistan has hosted, as Madam Minister also mentioned, the most number of Afghan refugees. But over the time, we've seen that there's this negativity coming in from across the border, particularly when it comes to Pakistan, irrespective of the generosity that Pakistan has offered. So would there be any advice from your end, because Pakistan has suffered extremely at the hands of terrorism that is emanating from across the border, and these issues come with the refugees as well, some of them particularly. So would there be any advice from your end to the government, irrespective if it's a republic or if it's an interim government by the Taliban? Number one. Number two, to Madam Minister, we've seen that the date for refugees' return has now been set for the 25th of December. So would it be extended, or is the government in favor of extending it further? Thank you.
I can be very short on your first question. I'm not in a position to advise the Pakistani government when it comes to the Afghan refugees. I must say that I very much appreciate what has been done, but I stand ready with our support and our cooperation to deal with the situation.
Okay, allow me to say that I think we don't seek acknowledgement or appreciation from others to do what we need to do for ourselves, right? And I think Pakistan is a proud country for having taken its international responsibilities very, very seriously, not for the last 4 months or the last 4 years, for the last 4 decades. Now, are we looking for acknowledgement for that? Would that help our cause? I don't think so. What we're looking for is responsible behavior for our own sake and for the sake of a peaceful, stable region and neighborhood. So what we do for ourselves. So having, at least now going forward, look, what we would ideally want is a scenario in which we have a long-term policy which is not dependent on 6-monthly cabinet approvals. And I think that is what this government seeks, and that is what the Foreign Office recommends also. And work is on its way on that, but till the time that we are able to do that, I think it is not only in our generosity, but in our taking the responsibility to not throw anyone away, or to where Pakistan continues to do what it does. And it is a very interesting, as I said, we don't seek any acknowledgement, but just putting it on the record that a country which has been resource strict, not had the best of resources at its disposal, we have taken on the responsibility of millions of Afghan refugees over the last 4 decades, and the resource crunch that it has had, or the pressure that it has put to schools and health, it is sometimes underappreciated how we are sometimes denying schooling to our own to be able to accommodate others. So just wanted to put it on the record and to say that we will continue to do the responsible thing, and we are proud to be doing it.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is Azaz Sayed. I work for DawnNews. My question to you is that European Union remained a torchbearer of freedom of expression. We have recently seen that Pakistan's status in terms of freedom of expression and freedom of media remained not exemplary when it comes to the numbers and the figures issued by different international and local NGOs. Have you spoken on this issue with the Pakistani authorities? And what is your personal opinion? Recently, you know that a Pakistani journalist has also been killed in Kenya. So what is your personal view, and what is your personal observation? And Ms. Hina, question to you is that we have seen that whatever has happened to Mr. Arshad Sharif there in Kenya, and we know that Kenyan authorities has not come up with some positive vibes in a way. What measures we are adopting to collect all the evidences and all the cooperation in terms of the investigations being conducted for the murder of Mr. Arshad Sharif? Thank you.
Thank you. The freedom of expression, the possibility for media to act freely and for journalists to act freely and safely is of the utmost importance. It's a fundamental thing for a well-functioning democracy. But this has not been the topic that we have been discussing today, and not be the topic of my mission here today.
Thank you. Okay, as far as your question regarding the unfortunate incident surrounding the death of Arshad Sharif is concerned, I think it is something that we have never, I'm rather pleased with the fact that immediately after that, an investigation team was immediately sent. Not only that, but before that, we never wanted to acknowledge that, but I think I do want to acknowledge the efforts that our High Commissioner in Kenya made. From the morning hours till the time that she put the body in the plane, she was there throughout to make sure that it was done in a way which was honorable, which was decent, and the relatives were able to receive the body at the earliest. And I think it was in some ways track record time in terms of being able to. So having done all of that responsibility, I think when it comes to the government, the Prime Minister was very quick in sending an investigation team immediately. I think we have seen a lot of record emerge from that investigation team, which put things into perspective and perhaps raises more questions. And that is what the work of a preliminary investigation always is, to raise the right questions based on evidence. That is happening. And then in order to make sure, because there was lots of voices, it's not very useful to have discoherent voices casting aspersions at a time when the country should be getting together to save its own, or to at least put a logical, to closure for the family. So at that time, the Prime Minister decided to put a judicial, now, excuse me if I don't know the nomenclature in particular, I think it was the Judicial Commission, but put that in place to make sure that no more questions would be asked on the authenticity or at least the will of the government to get to the bottom of it. And inshallah, we will get to the bottom of it. I think this country deserves closure, and the journalist community in Pakistan deserves absolute closure to it. We have entered into a phase of many investigations being opened but never being able to get the closure. And I think it is in the interest of everyone to get absolute closure on this, and it is this government's intention to be able to do that.
पाकिस्तान यूरोपीय यूनियन के लिए तरबियत याफ्ता अफरादी क़ुव्वत फराहम करने के लिए तमाम तर वसाइल बरोए कार ला रहा है। गैर कानूनी हिजरत रोकने के लिए कानून साजी और इक़दामात, जबकि कानूनी तौर पर